Good evening. So, here's a subject that I get asked about and comes up occasionally. And for a lot of you casual Bigfoot people or very grounded in science Bigfoot people, this seems kind of out there. And I have to admit, when I was first really getting into this subject years ago, this did seem pretty out there to me as well. But it comes up. So, I want to talk about it. And there's some interesting points people make and some interesting theories that go along with this. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about it, and that's UFOs and Bigfoot. Now, plenty of people have regular encounters where they're out deep in the woods or not even that deep in the woods, just somewhere in the woods near home, or they're hunting or hiking, or they're driving through kind of a rural area and one runs across the road. They see one run tree from tree, or they're camping and something walks around their camp, or they have rocks thrown at them. Very typical Bigfoot stuff. But every now and then you get a report of something very odd, very different. And kind of like UFO reports, they can happen anywhere at any time and can just be a strange light in the sky to I saw a saucer or cigar-shaped craft or a disc or strange lights or a combination or a light that looked like an airplane and then it took off at a speed that couldn't be or did maneuvers. All sorts of stuff. And I think Bigfoot has a lot in common with that you could be almost anywhere, anytime, unless you're deep within a big city. And you could see one of these things. You see a lot of strange stuff in the woods. So every now and then you come across a report of somebody who saw a UFO and then they saw a flash of light and then they saw Bigfoot, or they saw lights in the sky and then a while later they saw Bigfoot in the area. And the scientific mind would just say, well, that's two separate phenomenons until otherwise known to be linked. And I kind of get that theory of, well, I saw some lights in the sky, then I saw Bigfoot. And it's a big jump to say that the UFO dropped off Bigfoot or they're connected or whatever. But there's a lot of theories out there, and there have been reports, quite a few actually, that people say that, hey, I saw this craft land in the bush or over the ridgeline, or I saw it far away. Some doors opened up or a light opened up, and these big hairy creatures that look like a Bigfoot got out of it. Now, that sounds really crazy and really odd, but I think it's worth listening to. Not necessarily that I believe that that's what's going on. And also wanted to reiterate that I don't think Bigfoot is an alien. They could be, but I think that's pretty low on the list of probability. So the other thing that gets associated with UFOs and Bigfoot, and I think it's fascinating that this seems to be kind of a bridge between the two subjects, is orbs and lights in the woods. The night of my UFO encounter when I was out coyote hunting and I had a rock thrown at me later that night, we witnessed a orange orb of light in the woods like a couple hours later. And where we were wasn't far, about a 15-minute drive from where the Bigfoot encounter happened. Now, are they connected? They could be. Can I prove it? No. Are they not connected? Maybe. I don't know. But a lot of UFO people also report lights in the woods and strange orbs. Some people have witnessed UFOs and orbs of light coming out of the UFOs, almost like there's some kind of spy or some kind of disembodied soul or some higher plane being that's just a ball of energy, or some kind of a advanced drone technology. I really don't know what the lights are. There's so many mysteries in this. But people do report Bigfoots, like I said, being associated with UFOs. And then you have places like the Skinwalker Ranch, and you have other places around the world that seem to be these nexuses, Yosemite, Sedona. There seems to be areas with nexuses, with portals, with vortices, whatever you want to call them, that have high strangeness, areas that have UFOs, that have these balls of light, that have cryptid activity. They see Bigfoots, and they also see other types of cryptids. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people say, well, Bigfoot could be an alien. It kind of explains some of their abilities, why they don't want to be found, and why the government knows about them and they don't want us to get out, is that they have a lot of human DNA. They have maybe some ape DNA because humans are part of the ape family. And but there's something else to them. They have qualities. They have infrasound abilities to hide and see in the dark that would be even unnatural from the most cunning of creatures. The top bit of science and evolution, if you believe it, could make a top predator. Like you think of like a tiger or something being a top predator, and then you think of how far a Bigfoot would go, and it's kind of even beyond that as far as their intelligence, their size. their ability to get things done and move through, have 800,000 pound animal move almost silently through the underbrush at breakneck speeds, the way these things have been reported to do. And the way they've been able to hunt, the way that they've been able to live and survive. And that kind of brings me to maybe if they are being dropped off by aliens, they talked about it on Sasquatch Chronicles the other day, and I'd heard this before too, that one of the theories, and talking at these UFO events, people brought this up to me, that maybe there's some kind of a spy or some kind of, they have technology in them, or something controls their soul, or something can see out of their eyes, or they have a way of communicating, and there's some kind of a low-rent spy. Think about it. If you put a drone, you'd have to maintain it, and it could possibly be corrupted or crashed. But if you drop a living being off, it can survive. It can live off in the woods. It can think objectively. It can sneak into people's places. It can learn habits. It can do things that machines can't do. Or if you're an alien in the woods, these things are, better in the cold, better in the heat, better to find water, natural survivors. So if you were going to drop some kind of a creature, highly intelligent creature, to spy on humans or military bases, because UFOs and Bigfoots are seen a lot around military bases. If you were going to have some kind of a spy, a Bigfoot would be a great candidate, because they are very stealthy. They can live off the land. They can live in harsh climates, and people don't believe they exist. They hide from people. So it seems like not, the whole UFO thing's a far stretch, but to use the idea of Bigfoot spying, they would be a great spy, because they're just so elusive and they're so questionable. And then if they do get into trouble, they could be great fighters too. So maybe there is something to it. In a previous video, I talked about Dogman being possibly a good guy, not good in the sense that they protect people, but they have a bigger purpose that we don't understand. And for me, maybe Dogman and Bigfoot are engineered creatures. Maybe these Dogmen are protecting these portals and vortexes in different places where these things come in and out of space or jump in and out of time. And maybe they're some kind of guardians. And the Bigfoots are some kind of spies / laborers. And they're all engineered forces, and maybe this is why the government doesn't want us to know about them, because they have some more of they connect to a bigger mystery, something bigger than just being odd creatures in the woods. So one of the other things that might seem a little bit more not as out there as Bigfoot being an engineered creature is that, like cows and like people, many things that get abducted or supposedly abducted or been witnessed being carried off by aircraft, that if you were an alien species and you wanted to research Earth, you would abduct a number of humans and do experiments and learn their physiology and their intelligence. You'd learn about their culture and their behavior. You'd abduct cattle to see what humans are eating and that kind of stuff. So maybe if you're roaming around in the sky and you're using your infrared heat sources or whatever it is to detect humans, and you're like, whoa, this is a big human. It's 10 feet tall out in the woods, covered in hair. And they abduct Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot's already a natural creature or an unnatural creature, but these aliens are they don't know anything about it, and they're just as curious as they are. So maybe that's why Bigfoots get abducted and dropped on and off, is they're just like anything else on this planet. They're being taken up for experiments or for just monitoring, maybe being like implanted or chipped or something and tracking their movements just like people do. So maybe that's a little bit less of an extreme thing. I do know when it comes to the woods, UFOs, strange lights, people have encountered aliens, people have encountered reptoids, and all sorts of other strange cryptid creatures out there while camping and hiking and doing their thing. So how Bigfoot fits into it is, it all gets, and ghosts too, and all that other stuff, is Bigfoot just kind of gets lumped into the paranormal category. And there are some people in this field that I have a lot of respect for that treat it as very cryptozoological. It's just an undiscovered animal, no woo as they call it. And then there's other people that say that they are part of the paranormal world, that they're not a regular creature. Not sure if you guys are familiar with Emery Smith, but his stories are fascinating. Not that I necessarily believe him per se, but it's still really, really well done, and he comes off as very believable. Was a government insider for the Air Force and had all sorts of biology degrees, and was recruited to work to do autopsies and biopsies and stuff on parts of very strange creatures, and then it turned into like a hand or an arm, and then eventually he started doing autopsies on whole creatures. Very hush-hush military, alien involvement stuff. So Emery Smith's an interesting guy. You should go check out some of his stuff, and at the very least it's entertaining. But he reported that one of the things that he had encountered a couple times, never live, but on the slab, so to speak, that he described as like Chewbacca. It was 7, 8, 9 feet tall, huge and hairy, and he had to cut it open, and it was very similar to like a human on the inside. And he said he didn't know what this was. And he's not a cryptid Bigfoot guy, but he said to him it looked like Chewbacca. And you hear Chewbacca a lot, especially from kids who don't necessarily know about Bigfoot, but maybe are into Star Wars or something. And it definitely seems like it was an inspiration, although the nose is way wrong on Chewbacca for them to be a Bigfoot. But anyway, find it very fascinating. There's a lot to go on in this subject. I've heard other insiders and other abductees say that they've seen Bigfoot creatures, or they've seen them being led around in shackles, or they're on a table. I've even heard reports of there being a Bigfoot creature with its chest opened up and it was like a machine robot on the inside, some kind of a half human, half ape, half machine cyborg thing. I've heard some really out there stuff. But I think there's a reason why Bigfoot gets dumped in with the UFOs and the paranormal stuff. There is definitely a certain quality to these things. It seems strange. So anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about it, you guys, tonight without jumping too deep into the subject. I find it very fascinating. So please stay safe in the woods. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you very much.